Alright, it is quarterfinals day 2 of ESL Pro League Season 21. Compared to yesterday, things went by pretty fast. We did not have chaotic 3-game series from both teams, Vitality cleaned up Liquid relatively quickly, and then NAVI got destroyed by the Mongolz. So we're going to keep things quick, go over what went well, what went wrong, what might be next for Team Liquid and NAVI, and I'm not going to waste too much of your time. Which means you need to do me a solid and make sure you leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm, as well as helping me reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you so much. And before we get started, I would like to thank today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey, a CS2 trading website. You put in the skins that you want to trade, you select what you want, you use my code LionHeartZ for up to $5 off, or click the top link in the description, and boom, new drip.
Nice.
You can also use my code for a 35% deposit bonus if you want to buy with real money. And they have a free section with cool giveaways. So check the top link in the description, use my code to buy 15 Dragon Lores to let them know I sent you their way, and thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Okay, and before we get too deep into the analysis of Vitality versus Liquid, I have to highlight a comment from yesterday's video just because I thought it was funny. Shout out to Drudene, who thought I wouldn't come onto this video and let you know that I was going into this game hoping that Fraudwu would not be able to hold a candle to the Goatlin from Poland. Unfortunately, yeah, Liquid got cooked. As much as my delusions wanted me to believe that if Liquid could get Anubis, they could take a map off Vitality, maybe ZywOo has a slow game, then things could get interesting. No, none of that. Rops was fucking amazing, ZywOo was fucking amazing, NAV had a terrible first map, and oh my god, excuse me, holy shit. Should I leave that in? I'm gonna leave that in. Anyways, surprisingly, I don't think at any point Liquid looked so far out of this game, but they also at the same time didn't really feel like they were seriously threatening to win, if that makes sense. Like, this wasn't a blowout. This wasn't Liquid didn't have a shot. They had shots, they could not convert them. Like, going down 6-1 on your CT side is a disaster, even though Anubis is so T-sided, but then battling that back to end the half 7-5 is really good. In fact, it should have been 6-6. Unfortunately, Liquid do love to lose the most mind-numbing rounds you've ever seen when they lost to the full Deagle buy, courtesy of Rops and ZywOo Devil Magic, I'm convinced. And, you know, that was just like a comedy of errors, right? Like, Rops hits the first shot down towards E-Box. That's just a great shot. Nothing you can really do about that. And then when Flames and ZywOo catch the other two players around mid, I think that's just Liquid trying to claw back an advantage instead of playing their stronger angles, playing crossfires. Like, they were trying too hard to equalize the advantage instead of relying on the fact that there is no nades, there are no guns on the backs of Vitality, make them come to you. I will say it sucked seeing NAV have such a struggle of a match because he's one of my personal favorite players, but he was just getting brutalized. He couldn't get anything going, which I think makes it all the more commendable that once we get there, he was much better on Dust too. But here, he's one of their primary anchors, so him kind of being a gaping hole on the defense didn't help things whatsoever. But again, as I already kind of laid out, Liquid had glimpses where it looked like things might be able to turn around. We get onto the second half, they lose the pistol round, but then win the Tech-9 force buy in the second off of a good mid-pinch. Like, those were good fights. They swarmed into CT, took care of Mezzi. They got the trades rotating back through A. JKS had a great late lurk through A main. So that's all fantastic. They managed to flip that into 2 more rounds. Okay, the game is getting a little bit closer. This is becoming more reasonable. We get to Vitality's first kind of proper gun round, 8-8 scoreline. It's not even that good of a buy for Vitality. You got ZywOo stuck down on an MP9, and Liquid want to operate from that mid to A split once again. They're going to get ready. JKS is going to throw the lurk smokes into Temple, Molly out in front of camera, and then things are going to get going. But as soon as the smoke comes out to block camera, Liquid needs to stop and rotate. Going through this smoke is just a death trap. You don't know how many CTs are on A. Going through this smoke and with a minute left in the round just seems way too hasty. It allows ZywOo to take a double kill for free. And then Flames from Heaven gets a triple to clean up the round because Liquid are split, they're out of control, there's no nades to really counter anything. This was just from first principle a bad attack. And think about the impact if Liquid were to win this round. You're putting Vitality onto another save. You've taken the lead in the score. You're now building more positive momentum. You're also pushing off ZywOo's ability to get an op even further into the half. You can snowball from here, potentially, depending on how you played in subsequent rounds. But no, you get hard stopped here. Vitality continue to play well as individuals, with Robs and ZywOo just popping off, and things peter out for Team Liquid. They hold off Vitality on match point just one single time before they clean things up in the very next round, and Liquid are now down in the series after playing their best map, going on to Dust 2, which is arguably Vitality's best map, and this is just not looking good. And on that Dust 2, I think once again, there was a lot of good, there was a whole lot of mid. At the end of it all, I never felt like Liquid were seriously threatening to win this game. First things first, after winning the CT side pistol round, Liquid lose the force buy against Vitality off the back of Robs having a sick 4K with the Galil, so already not off to a good start in terms of momentum. Vitality flipped that into a 3-round run before Liquid can even get back on the board off the backs of a JKS 1v2 clutch. Now things are actually, I think in terms of individuals, going a lot better for Liquid overall. Most importantly, NAF bounced back in a big way. I think that came at the cost of NERTZ having an unfortunate game where he ends with going 9-20, but his problems more lie on the T side. Focusing in on this, NAF did a great job anchoring towards the B side throughout this half, and he caps off his first half play with a great 1v2 clutch on round 10. And I don't have to explain to you guys know, rotating through CT and having to deal with players on Cat and A side, it's one of the hardest retakes in the game. It's why Dust 2 can be so volatile, because CTs have equal opportunity to box out the bomb sites, but once you lose them, things become so hard to deal with. But NAF is just one of those guys. He's always been so great in the clutch, even when he's having poor games. He had a clutch back on Anubis, I just didn't highlight it. So it's good to see him playing well. Now, the interesting thing I want to highlight, and this was pointed out very well by Maui Snake over on Twitter, is that Liquid approached their T side in the second half in a much different way than they have in pretty much all of their other Dust 2 games in recent memory. They rarely ran mid to B prior to this game, but their T side was almost entirely mid to B hits, which I think is an interesting switch up. I think it's actually pretty commendable for Liquid to make that kind of adaptation in such a big game, and for the most part, I think it worked. That largely has to do with the fact that mid to B is probably the strongest T-side setup on Dust 2. Your ability to take and control mid and then pinch to the B bomb site, if you win the B bomb site, is almost always a save from the A players. Even in Premier, players are going to go save if they lose B site. If you can get B, you're going to win a lot of rounds. Really, I think the thing you can point to that Liquid did wrong was they didn't continue to pressure this point. They stopped going mid to B. The first time they did it after winning that streak of rounds in the second half, they powered NERTZ out long, NERTZ got a pick, they're in a 4v5, and they are immediately hauling ass to rotate through spawn to go back to B. On its own, not a problem. However, Vitality are one step ahead of this play every time because it's so obvious what's going on. Once ZywOo clears long and sees there's no Ts, Apex doesn't even think twice about stacking B. Because at this point, if Liquid decide to go mid to Cat, ZywOo's good enough to get one, maybe two. It's fucking ZywOo. You can leave him to hold a bomb side solo. And if ZywOo dies, guess what? They'll just all save on B. Stacking B here is the most obvious move Apex has called in his entire career, and at no point throughout the rest of this round do Liquid try and feign anywhere else. They don't even bother posturing up towards Cat. They just kind of clear the corner. They don't even test to see if someone's on A side. They are going B with Twist lurking through mid every single time from this point on, and it's read like a book. So yeah, Vitality won, not shocking at all. Liquid forever in the Torment Nexus, and I just hope that something changes soon, because there are good parts to this team, and then there's everything else. And as a fan of a lot of these players, I hate it, and I want it to change. Moving on to the Mongolz taking on NAVI, unfortunately there is just not much to talk about. NAVI got blown out of the server. It was 13-6 on both maps. That leaves me at kind of a loss of where to go about this, because from NAVI's perspective, what do you really say when you guys just got so thoroughly outshot? That's kind of the problem that NAVI find themselves in a way, is that their tactics work. Their system works. I like the strategies that they run. They're like the inverse of G2. They just don't have the firepower to make that system work. And it's leading to what I can only describe as just an insane lack of confidence. When I watch the player POVs, I don't see NAVI believing in themselves. And while that's kind of like a thing that's hard to point to because it's an intangible, if you watch them play, I think you know what I mean. They don't have the faith to pull off the strats they did not even 6 months ago. They have it in spurts. You know, they had games earlier in Pro League where they looked a lot more together, but when their back is against the wall, they don't have somebody to fall back on. And I tweeted this out, and I'm going to kind of reiterate my thoughts here because of it. When NAVI lost, I said that I feel like they're up against a wall. A move to bring Simple back in, despite me wanting that, seems like it couldn't be worse timed because the team doesn't have a whole lot of time afterwards to build up into Austin. But they're currently bleeding results. They continue to plummet. They're now ranked number 10 in the world. If Lisbon doesn't go well, they're going to fall out of the top 10. And that's really hard to imagine when they were the team of the year last year, right? So what do? Do you just hang on and see what you can do, and then after Austin, do you try and rebuild? Is Simple even the right piece? Despite me wanting it as a Simple fan, is he gonna be the fix? We don't know. And with so many intangibles, Munisi gonna be a free agent soon. There's no way he's staying with G2. What is the future for NAVI? They couldn't be more lost, yet they have a formula that should work. But Emma and Bit had a terrible tournament. JL is still like trying to figure things out. And then Wonderful is great. He'll do everything right up until the biggest moments, and then he disappears too. So I don't know how you fix NAVI, because there's a lot of like potential fixes, but all of them can also be equally disastrous. I feel like they are truly stuck. I mean, to put it in perspective, Senzu is the best player on Mongolz. He was terrible to start off Mirage. At one point, he was down all the way going 1-6. And I tweeted out then that I thought this was another Mongolz choke job inbound, that they couldn't do it in the playoffs once again. But everyone else on Mongolz, because their depth is that crazy, made up for the slack. Techno played great. 9-10 was amazing. Blitz and Mazzino had their moments of impact, and in the second half, Senzu was able to build back into the game and end with an honestly just okay scoreline, going 10-13 with a positive rating. The Mongolz, who are notoriously bad in playoffs, faltered early on in this game and then recovered, whereas NAVI faltered and were just not able to pull out of the tailspin at any point on Mirage or on Ancient. And then we get to that Ancient, and Mazzino wakes up, and it is absolutely insane to me that Mongolz' third best player is Mazzino. That's how good this team is in terms of just their depth of firepower. It's just unreal. And NAVI have nothing, literally nothing, when Emma and Bit are playing this poorly to combat that firepower. It's so bizarre to sit here and talk about in this recap today that the game that was more of a blowout was NAVI and Mongolz. That the Mongolz beat NAVI worse than Vitality beat Liquid. That I could see Vitality losing a map to Liquid, and the way NAVI played today, there was not a chance in hell they were going to take a map off the Mongolz. So I don't know where this roster goes from here, because I stand by what I said a few days ago in my other recaps, that if JL shows up and Bit and Emma show up, this team is still good enough. Like, I would still even say, with how low they are in the VRS standings, they're still arguably a top 5 team, because I just don't have any belief in teams like G2, Falcons, Astralis, Eternal Fire. I need to see FaZe at Lisbon before I make that statement. But outside of Vitality, Spirit, and probably Mouse at this point, and the Mongolz, I don't see how NAVI is any worse than the teams below them. They just need confidence. They need to just, like, believe in themselves a little bit more. Anyways, we'll go ahead and leave it there. A little bit of a shorter video today, which is nice for me. We'll be back tomorrow for the semifinals. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm and help me hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Check the link in the description. Make sure you go ahead and make some cool trades and let them know I sent you their way. Thank you to SkinsMonkey. Thank you to our channel members, Justin, Jesse Furley, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Patatas Kaftesi, PTR, B1 Games, Cody Foxworthy, Justin Vandervate, I Am Flashbang, Snowy White, and Rowdy. If you want to become a channel member, you can just hit the link in the description down below. For $5 a month, you can support me directly, as well as get your name at the end of videos just like this, and a custom role in our community Discord. Thank you to our channel members. Come watch me on twitch.tv/LionHeartZ. We are alternate streaming Elden Ring and Counter-Strike. So if you want to see me break a controller, then break a mouse in Premiere, come on, hang out, drop me a follow. I'll see you guys soon with another video. Peace.